Hey everyone, my name is Dr. Elliot Gavin Keenan, and I have a PhD in human development and psychology from UCLA. I also happen to myself be diagnosed with autism, ADHD, bipolar disorder type 1, and a bunch of other stuff too. Something that came of interest a few years ago when I was in treatment, I was in a comprehensive DBT program. And I started to become interested in DBT, and then down the road, I actually went and published a paper in Autism in Adulthood that looks at different modifications to the DBT curriculum that could be made to accommodate people with autism. After I wrote that paper, there was a decent amount of interest, and I wrote another article in Thinking Person's Guide to Autism, where I talked about different mindfulness techniques that might be useful when talking about the autistic people. So, as you can see, on the side of my screen here, this is an app. It has both a desktop version and a mobile app for phones or tablets. It's called Habitica, and it's something I've actually brought up in some of my DBT talks. Like, I gave a talk for the DBT Society of the United Kingdom, I think it's called. And there are about 400 people there. And while I was there, I talked about this app and how it's been really helpful for me in organizing everything that I need to do. And in this video, I'm going to show you how to set up and customize Habitica so that you can use it for DBT clients, particularly those who may benefit from gamification, which is basically what Habitica is all about. You see, you have here a little avatar. This is my real Habitica account, by the way. This is me. You get to have pets, mounts, costumes, equipment, backgrounds, a lot of stuff that you can get in the app just to customize your character, raise your stats. All of that becomes reinforcing. It reinforces the behavior. In some cases, it's also possible to have punishment. Like, normally, if you miss one of your daily tasks, which I will elaborate on in a minute, you normally take some damage from that. However, you can turn off damage so that there is no punishment, which I think is quite important when dealing with emotionally dysregulated populations. But first, in true DBT fashion, I would like to go over the pros and cons of using Habitica app. So, pros, as I mentioned, Habitica is centered around gamification. So if you're working with clients who may be amenable to that sort of strategy of like turning therapy activities into a game, especially if they're interested in like fantasy games or like Dungeons and Dragons. Even if not, there are ways to make Habitica reinforcing. We have custom rewards, so you can have any reward. You can even turn, you can have a real life reward, like a ice cream cone, some other pleasurable, relaxing activity that you would like to do, and you can have it cost you a certain amount of gold. You get to choose the cost depending on the reward. I believe that gamification may help increase client motivation and therefore increase adherence to skills group and DBT instruction. There's also multiple types of tasks, which I will be getting into next. But it's super customizable. You can customize even like the sound font of the Habitica game, which is crucially important when dealing with autistic clients, because what sounds appealing to one autistic person could be horrifying to another autistic person. You can also change like the color of the app icon and like various things like that. Finally, we have that, you know, reinforcing of behaviors that we want to be reinforced. And this is in addition to the reinforcement that is built into standard DBT. It's like adding on just, you know, a little bit more on top. Now, there are a couple of cons. The first is, unlike apps that are developed explicitly for the use of them in therapy, there is no way to, like, pre-customize the app for the client. For that reason, I recommend that you set up the Habitica app together with your client so that, you know, everyone's on the same page. And the client may even be able to add some things like, oh, I would like to do XYZ activity every Wednesday. Well, you can program that in Habitica. So it might be fun to get to know the app and explore the possibilities. Now, there is another con. Habitica is a free app, and all of the essential features of the app are free. However, it is possible to make in-app purchases. So, if that may be tempting, well, you know, I guess your client's a free being. They're gonna do what they want, but I don't personally see that it adds that much. It's just a little extra nudge, but you don't need the in-app purchases. It's just, you know, they're there to tempt you. Finally, setting up Habitica and even using Habitica can be a bit confusing, so that's why I'm here to help. So like I said, this is the interface for Habitica. This is the web interface. My avatar is here. I have 40 out of 50 health. Some experience. I have all my mana. My skills are at the bottom. Skills and classes and stuff get added in as you progress through the game. You don't start with all of these options. They get added in one by one. There are 3 types of tasks that you can do in Habitica. The first is called Habits. Habits is for anything you want to reinforce or punish. It is possible to have negative habits that will do damage to yourself. So this is particularly useful for skills. Like, you can write, you know, an individual skill like Dear Man and make it a habit where you get experience every time you do it. It's not a one and done. It's something you want to continuously reinforce and have the person keep doing and keep using that skill. The negative habits might be useful for people who struggle with substance abuse, potentially even self-harm, or possibly with therapy interfering behaviors. But I have not experimented very much with negative habits. I'm not sure when that would really be appropriate because of the very sensitive nature of some of the clients. But for some people, maybe it would work really well. That's why it's all, you know, individually customized. The next type of activity is called a daily. These are recurring events. They can be like recurs every day, every other day, every Tuesday, every other week, you know, any of that type of specification, but it recurs on a standard basis. This might be really useful for diary card entries, which are supposed to happen every day, I believe. It's also really useful for me for my activities of daily living, my ADLs. Like you see, I have to clean my floors today. It's useful for taking meds. I log some of the meds that I take throughout the day to help me keep track. And even things that you just really want to make progress and accomplish. Like, I would like to read a book every day, which is surprisingly hard to do. Finally, the last of the 3 types of activities are the to-dos. And this is anything that needs to be done, but it isn't done on a recurring, predictable basis. It might be useful for homework, and just as a to-do list to help you stay organized. Note that in the web interface, you can click to see, like, these are the dailies I have to do today, but I have a ton that are not due or that I've already done today. And you can toggle between those views. You can also see all of them at once. Now, let's see what it looks like when you actually edit one of your tasks. So I'm editing my daily clean floors. I have a checklist for this, which means that there's multiple steps that need to be broken down. I can sweep, vacuum, and mop, and you check the ones you did. You can set a difficulty. I have this task repeat weekly, every week, on Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday. And I've tagged it with chores. So, as you can see, there's a bunch of different options. You know, you can play around with it. There's options. You can even have something that only comes once a year. Send me a message if you have any questions. This was Dr. Elliot Gavin Keenan, Bipolar Coaster. Like and subscribe for more content.